Hi, Stuart Bruce here, and I am the Spare Time Property Investor. In these podcasts, I'm going to share tips, tricks and lessons that I've learned and will hopefully help you, especially if you're still working the 9 to 5. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Spare Time Property Investor podcast with me, Stuart Bruce.
And me, Lara.
I've been out of action for a little while, just a week or so, because of an illness. So I thought it would be a good idea for us to do a little update while we're driving in the car, because we're trying to squeeze every opportunity into our days because we're really, really busy at the moment. And yesterday we took the opportunity to actually have a night out, which was great. It seems like such a long time, since we've been able to go out and have a couple of drinks with friends. So yeah, it's fantastic. So we thought we would do a little update of a purchase that we're going through at the moment, and all of the other moving parts that is making that purchase possible. So so first off, we are in the position where we're kind of remortgaging one property to release capital from it to invest in the next property, and it's been a bit of a nightmare, hasn't it?
Yeah, so basically the first company that valued the house, what were they, the mortgage company?
It was BM, I think it's Birmingham and Midshire, something like that. I can't think of the full name.
And they basically, it wasn't good because they were happy with the value that we said it was worth and what we wanted, but they had a very weird thing that a policy that basically a HMO has to, all of the tenants have to be on one tenancy agreement, which unless you have like a student let or something, it's quite unusual to, well, you wouldn't have one tenancy because people come and go when they want and they have individual tenancies for their room. So
and strangely, from speaking to other people about that company, they've used them and they've been great, but they've only ever used them for student lets. So it's one of those issues that people need to be aware of, that different lenders have different criteria, and we used a mortgage broker, which we thought would help us avoid any of these delays, but obviously it didn't, which is very frustrating.
So that was a mistake on their part, but so obviously it's created a delay, and then we've now got a second company, mortgage company,
Foundations,
and essentially they visited the property and have down valued it, so have gone lower than what we wanted, and the reason they've given is that they're saying that they're only counting it as a 3-bed HMO rather than a 4-bed HMO, which it is, and they were saying that it doesn't meet the local council's criteria for a 4-bed HMO, but it does. So we're going back and forth at the moment with them, trying to get to the bottom of what they're referring to, because obviously if they're saying it doesn't meet the local council criteria for a 4-bed, then we need to know how, in what way, because
what they're basing it on.
We set it up and checked everything and had the council out there happy with it. There's nothing, there's no reason why it wouldn't fit the council's criteria. So unless they're just making assumptions about what the council's criteria is, I really don't know. So we're trying to get to the bottom of that, and obviously in the meantime, because we have to plan for them not backing down, we have to make plans for making up that shortfall to be able to move on and get the next property.
things there, really, isn't there? So we've had to, as a contingency. Well, I think it will be more than a contingency, sort of, because I can't imagine a surveyor admitting that they don't know what they're talking about in terms of the local authority.
Even if we are
we're
right.
We are right, and we can evidence that we're right. But it's just such a frustrating thing. So there's that side of it where the contingency around finding the funds for to meet up. It's like it's left us with an £11,000 shortfall for the deposit. We have other money set aside for the refurb and things like that, but this is the deposit that's the issue now. So then we've had to contact people about how to make that money up, which we've managed to do actually, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And in a way, this project has been more of a learning curve than anything we've done before, because of these issues. But also alongside that, we're buying it direct from vendor.
Yeah, so we haven't got the estate agent to sort of hold things together and keep everyone, there's more communication for us to do with the owner and with the, I suppose it is more the owner.
Yeah, and it is the owner really, and it's making sure that the communication is great with her, and we're having regular communication, and answering any questions that she has, being very transparent about things and all that sort of thing. And in all honesty, she seemed happy, which we're very, very happy about, because we wouldn't want her to think that we weren't pushing as hard as we can to get everything sorted. So yeah, there's quite a lot of things in the balance with this, which is really frustrating and annoying in one sense, but also it is fantastic in terms of what we're learning from doing it. And I would say that you don't learn anywhere near as much about property until you're actually doing it, because there are so many things that can go wrong and so many things that you have to be conscious of all the time. Lots of plates to keep spinning and everything like that. So so it is, in a way, it would be nice if it was all going smoothly, but we're learning a lot from the whole process.
And even things like the difference between brokers is massive, and like you really understand their worth and their value to have the difference between one that's not as good and to someone who is completely on the ball, and they're in communication with you. You can ring them, they'll ring you back. You're not constantly chasing them. They know what they're doing, and you feel like you can trust them. It's so important,
so invaluable, and especially as the title of the podcast suggests, we're still in our day jobs, so we're not only, we've got 3 mortgages going through at the moment. We've got another remortgage for another HMO we've got this refinance, and we've got a purchase mortgage, plus day jobs, plus Lara's got a lot of things with her interior design and other things happening, and everything else, and the podcast, so we need the broker to be on the ball, because we need them to carry some of that weight. So Lara's absolutely bang on. When you have people doing a great job as opposed to people who aren't doing as well, it's the contrast is pretty stark, really.
And can even cause you problems, which is like definitely not okay. So and one thing I was just gonna quickly go back to, one of the issues with the down valuation was, we think that we haven't got to the bottom of exactly what it is that they have an issue with. There were queries raised about the communal space. So our property does. So the council also allow for if the bedroom is over a certain size, that the person renting that room doesn't require communal space because their room meets their threshold for not requiring communal space because it's big enough for them to sit and eat and and have everything else they need. So yeah, I think the key thing is really just to make sure, because I think communal space does come up quite a lot as a query, because obviously your bedroom's quite simple, you measure it, it meets the size, that's simple.
But there's different thresholds to it, doesn't it? So it might meet the size for single occupancy with access to a communal space, or it could meet criteria for double occupancy, or it could meet criteria for single occupancy but not requiring communal space, that sort of thing. So there's different levels to in our local authority anyway, and I believe it will be the same in some other local authorities.
The key thing really is just to, obviously whenever you're looking at purchasing a property for a HMO, is to know your local authorities standards and
dig in, but not just know it, kind of dig into it as well.
Yeah, make sure you fully understand it and that you're compliant. When it comes to a remortgage, at least you've got what you're talking about, and you can provide that proof and that information when it's queried.
Whether it helps or not, isn't it?
Yeah, it probably won't help, but these surveyors work across massive areas, and whether he's actually taken the time to check the local authorities' policy or whether he's just making some assumptions, that's what we're trying to work out really. But yeah, as long as you know what you're talking about and you can provide that information to the mortgage company, that may help you. But yeah, we'll see.
But also it's important when you're assessing new properties to determine how many bedrooms you can have, and then from that what rental income you can expect to achieve from that property. It's really important for you to understand whether or not you need to have make more room for like a kitchen diner, for instance, whether that be by extending the property or whatever, or do you require a separate communal space, or would you be able to have 2 bedrooms downstairs rather than 1, for instance. It's all those kind of nuances to the requirements set by the local authority you really need to have an understanding of, especially before you buy a property, because obviously once you've bought a property you are limited in terms of what kind of rental income you can achieve from it, and what you can do to that property to increase the rental income from it and things like that. So before you buy a property, it's really good to understand the local authorities' criteria in that area to make sure you can really confidently assess what you can do with that property, because clearly from our experience this meets all the local authorities' criteria. So please having that level of understanding and knowledge of what they need.
So I think that's probably
so it's really, we just wanted to do a little update. There's lots of things there. So remortgaging to pull out capital from properties is a fantastic way to increase your portfolio more quickly, rather than just saving up your rents and other kind of ways of saving cash. But sometimes you'll get a down valuation, and that's it's horrible, but it's kind of how it is, especially at the moment, because I think lenders are a little bit I've seen some lenders saying, it's going to be a crash or whatever. I think we're very confident we're a long way off a crash. And there's other things like, dealing with surveyors and make sure you can provide the evidence, dealing with brokers, all those other kind of things. I thought it would be helpful for us to kind of update what we're kind of coming up against at the moment, because against similar problems. So
yeah, and it's just like trying to have a plan B, and get that arranged, in case really, so it doesn't all fall apart. That's really important.
I thought as well it was really interesting for us to all of a sudden have this shortfall, which we've managed to find a contingency for that, which feels fantastic actually, because we weren't expecting it and we've managed to overcome it. So we prefer it if the surveyor and the mortgage company would change their minds, but if they don't, and we can still do it. So
so we'll get there, and obviously we'll update you. And we're just on our way home from picking up a Facebook marketplace fireplace. That's what's. I don't know if you can see.
Don't show it back in the car.
Oh yeah, I might have to cut that bit out. We haven't done it for a long time actually. When we renovate, we tend to get a lot of eBay and Facebook bargains and drive all over the place picking them up. It's been a long time since we had a little road trip.
But this is an amazing ornate plaster fire surround, which it's great.
£50.
Great.
And we'll show it to you when it's in place. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Well, thanks again everybody for the continued support. Hopefully you enjoyed this little update. If you did, please like and subscribe. If you know anybody who's going through similar kind of hurdles and things like that when they're buying their properties, please share and please let them know about the podcast. It all helps. But for now, that's it from us. We hope you're having a great week, and we'll see you again next time. See you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have, please leave me a 5-star review to help other people find it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.